Oh, there are three primary colors. Only three are primary, is true. The world is full of every kind of color, but we're just talking red, yellow, and blue. Red, red, yellow, yellow, blue, blue. These three are the primaries, it's true. Oh, there are three primary colors. Only three are primary, is true. But if you mix the primaries together, brand new colors come right into view. Red and yellow make orange, red and yellow make orange, yellow and blue make green, yellow and blue make green, blue and red make purple, blue and red make purple. And that's a lot of colors to be seen.
So, the whole point of the three primary colors video is to show you that we have yellow, red, and blue, and those are primary colors, also known as the first colors, because from those three colors, you get all other colors. And then when we mix the primaries together, you get a secondary color. So if you notice on the color wheel, there's yellow here, red here. In between them is orange because that is the color that those two colors make. Same thing with red and blue, and in between them is purple because that's the color that you get when you mix red and purple together, and so forth with yellow and blue making green. Today, however, we're going to use our Tempera Cake palettes. Now, I purposely got a Tempera Cake palette that really doesn't look that good to use because chances are you might encounter a Tempera Cake palette like this. Now, if you notice there are some colors on there that shouldn't be there, then you just take some clean water, swipe your brush over it, and if you want to take a little paper towel to pat out the dirty colors on it, then go ahead and do that. And now the yellow looks as good as new. Now, obviously, the bottoms of these Tempera Cakes are missing. Doesn't mean that you can't use the color that's on the side. Unfortunately, I can't put another Tempera Cake in there until you use up the one that's in there. So when we're going to make our first color, I'm going to take my brush, wet it, and I'm going to make my first transparent color. So it doesn't matter where I start. I do, however, like to start with yellow because if you try to use yellow with dirty water, it ends up making it not as nice. So, isn't too hard. I just take my brush, take some yellow, and fill my entire triangle with yellow. Let me see if I can make that look a little bit better. No, it looks okay. So, now I need to make my next primary color. Now, I can't put my primary colors next to each other because I need to save space for my secondary colors. So next I'm going to make the color blue. Red is a good choice too, but I'm going to go ahead and make blue. Now notice to make a transparent color you need a lot of water. So I'm not making a blue that you can't see through. I'm just taking a whole lot of water, mixing it together. Now let's say you accidentally make it too dark. Again, you can take a paper towel, just a little bit of a paper towel, and blot it, and that can lighten it up a little bit, as you can see. So if you accidentally make your color too dark, just take a paper towel and pat at it, and you can lift some of that color up again. Okay, next, I'm going to make my third primary color, which is red. And you guessed it, I'm going to put it right in this other spot. Now, if you're making a transparent red, it's going to look more like pink. So it's not going to look very red-like because you have the white of the paper shining through it. So again, now I've made mine kind of too dark in some spots. So I'm going to take some water. I'm going to roll my brush over it again and make it a little less, as you can see, it's still see-through. So now I've got my primaries. Now I can think about the words to that song. So red and yellow make what? And the answer is orange. But wait a minute, I don't have orange on this palette. How on earth am I going to make orange? Well, we know red and yellow make orange from the song. So let's try taking a little bit of red and mixing it into the yellow. And you might say, well, wait, I didn't know we were allowed to do that. Well, hey, you got to break an egg to make an omelet. So you're going to have to spoil a yellow for a moment to make your orange. But guess what? You already know how to clean out that yellow, so it's not going to be a big deal. So now I'm going to fill my orange area with my transparent orange, meaning I can see through it. And there we go. I now have some of my color wheel filled in. Now, every time I paint a color, I rinse my brush off. And like I said, in order to make my green, I'm going to have to clean out this yellow a little bit. Again, I'm going to take my yellow, and if I want to use a little bit of a paper towel to absorb some of that orange, that's fine. And I'm going to take some of my blue. Now, some of you probably noticed this does have a green. And you might say, well, wait, can't I just use the green? Yeah, you can. That's your choice. So anyway, so I'm going to take the blue, and once again, I'm going to put it into the yellow. Now, it's easier to mix dark into light, just because you're going to find it's very difficult to get enough yellow to darken blue. So always mix your darker color into the light color. So now I'm going to so yellow and blue make green. Now that's kind of dark. I'm going to lighten that up with a little water. And I'm going to fill that in. Now the green that you get from mixing yellow and blue is a little bit different from the one that's in my paint palette. So of course, if you use the green in the paint palette, I'll know right away that you used it, but it's okay. I'm more interested that you know that yellow and blue makes green than I am knowing that you know how to mix it. But I think it's good to know how to mix it too. So if you want to be able to do everything, it's best to try to mix the colors yourself. The last one again is red and blue make purple. As you can see, there's a magenta cake in here, which is very much like purple. But again, we're going to mix it just so that you know how to do it. I'm going to take the blue because it's darker than the red. I'm going to mix it into the red. And I'm going to add a little bit more water just so it doesn't get too dark. And I've now made a purple. And it's not very purpley, really. Sometimes you'll feel a little disappointed in the purple. But once you make it nice and even, now you have all of your transparent squares or triangles done. So the next step is to create the opaque sections of your color wheel. Now, as you can see, I've already gotten a head start with my yellow. So what I've done is I've taken a wet brush and I've rubbed it on the temper cake for a long time. So I've basically got more paint or pigment and a whole lot less water. And then I'm coloring the insides of my letters. Now the paint, you don't want to have your paint so dry, and cakey that you're not able to have any flow to your brush, because you do want your brush to still glide across the paper. But you don't want to have so much water that you don't have transparent paint, or that you have transparent paint. You want the paint to be opaque, meaning you can't see through it. And with yellow, that's kind of hard to do. And again, I started with the color yellow because, again, water gets dirty and pollutes the yellow first. So hopefully you've changed your water since you did the transparent colors. Now, once again, to get my orange, I'm going to take a little bit of my red. I'm going to go into my yellow. again, going dark into the light. Red's darker than yellow, so I'm going to take the red into the yellow. And I'm going to mix up my orange paint. And then, once again, you're going to see an opaque color that where you can't see the white of the paper anymore. And I'm going to fill in every single letter because it's really easy to accidentally forget, say, this side of the H or these little corners. Yeah, even teachers do that. So I'm going to work my way through this whole color wheel and make my way all the way around, do the green section, do the blue section. And when I'm done, you will have evidence that you know how to use paints transparently and opaquely, that you know how to mix colors, and that you also know how to make block and bubble letters, use a ruler, and all those other things that we talked about. So, have fun painting. Chippy? Chippy, no, that's my color wheel! Oh, Chippy!